we're back for another Lakers Fast Break podcast. The team previews continue. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here. We're still in the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, right there for you. And a good man here is going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. He is part of the Fansided experience at the Valley of the Suns. He's been writing all over about many great teams in the NBA, but his current stop is the Valley of the Sun. Of course, go ahead and follow him right there at the Valley of the Suns on Fansided. It is Luke Duffy. And Luke, great to have you on the show today.
Absolute pleasure to be here, Gerald. Looking forward to talking all things Suns and all things Lakers.
There you go. Absolutely indeed. So Phoenix again, the past couple of years, as far as under Matt Ishbia, since he's taken over the team, have not gone, I think, the way he would have foreseen it, even the offseason this season, as far as some of the changes that are being made. Obviously, sending out Kevin Durant was a big moment for that franchise for a rebuild or a reload per se. But the news also came down as far as recently. I know you got the reports in regards to the front office, which has been a different working environment. I think I'll be the kindest I can be to that as far as the working environment is concerned. Tell me, as far as for what you've been reporting on that, as far as what it's like inside Phoenix right now, off the court. Is that going to be a distraction on the court?
I think the short answer is yes, unfortunately. And all of sort of the whispers that you hear are that it's, and again, you want to be as maybe as kind as you can, but it's been a difficult couple of years for Matt Ishbia since taking over. It certainly in terms of what you hear coming out from behind the scenes. I know at Media Day he spoke kind of at length about all the good he's done, in terms of the fan experience, be it, the teams being free to view in Arizona, both the Mercury and the Suns, concession prices and stuff being lowered. But not that feels like a distraction, because fans are very, they're happy to hear these things. Anytime they have to spend less money to view a product or to view the team they love is a positive. But it kind of feels like that's not an unwelcome distraction, but almost pushing away from things that have gone on behind the scenes, because it does seem like there's been, a little bit of probably a bit more going on even than we know about, and maybe in years to come it will come out as well, because it seems like it's maybe not the most functioning or the best place to work right now.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Baxter, Holmes from ESPN dropping that latest report on, if you want to stay an employee, limiting your options as far as litigation against the company. If you want to stay on, which, if I got that put on my desk and be like, me? You want me to sign this? Wow. That's where we're at.
He did say again at Media Day, like, look, in terms of, lawsuits and stuff, it's very easy, or anybody can there can be a lawsuit out against anybody. I think he even said to the reporter, I could send a lawsuit your way for asking this question. So he kind of had a lighthearted approach towards the whole thing, but I suppose it's anything but lighthearted, really, isn't it? He was kind of trying to make light of a situation that's not that light, shall we say. So it seems like he's danced around the problems that maybe exist there. And I know there's a couple of holdovers, isn't there, from Robert Sarver's time there, who may yet take him to court. So we will see how that goes. It's certainly going to be a distraction from what's going on the court. I'm personally just trying to focus what's on the court, because there are some big questions I certainly have for that as well.
Well, it could be worse. You could be covering the Clippers right now. So that be said. So you're right. What's on the court, though, is interesting, to say the least. They have aspirations. Obviously, you came away from Media Day hearing about the aspirations of the team as far as their viability towards a playoff run and whatnot, even with Kevin Durant not being in the picture anymore, even with Bradley Beal not being in the picture anymore. Tell us your thoughts, though, about centering this team about Devin Booker. He got a 2-year extension recently this past season, so this will go well into getting into his mid-30s by the time this deal is done. That back end is going to be very interesting to look at as far as what 75 million dollars. But right now, he is still one of the best players in the NBA. If people don't think so, people kind of forget about maybe him because of the fact that sometimes he's been injured at times, various seasons. But the team still rides itself and prides itself on how effective Devin Booker can be out there. But playing point guard, I think, is still a question. I know that was brought up in the media day right there, as far as him being relied upon again to do so much as far as the playmaking aspect, as opposed to what he really does best, as far as really as a top level scorer in this league.
Yeah, and when it was put to him, he seemed again more than happy to take on the responsibility. But I think any Suns fan would agree that Devin Booker, the point guard, we've seen it before. And in actual fact, I think the last 2 seasons he's averaged over 8 assists a game. It's been the 2 highest outputs in terms of assists. But I think that was more because he was deferring maybe to Kevin Durant a little bit, and it's been a weird couple of years for Booker because, if anything, I do truly believe he's underrated at this stage. The Team USA experience, he became the ultimate role player almost, the "I'll do it" catchphrase, which obviously, was brilliant for that team. But he went from that to being still the guy in Phoenix, but he always seemed more than comfortable to let Kevin Durant take the last shot, or to just not maybe impose himself the way we'd seen in the past, or maybe the fit was just not as good as compared to when he was with Chris Paul. That tandem just worked so well with both of their personalities. So now that it's all about him again, he seems open to being the point guard. I think that was the biggest question most of us had heading into media day, is who's going to be the point guard, because as much as we all like Colin Gillespie's scrappy attitude, and he's a fine backup, and he had a great season in the G League, and when he got his chance last year, if Colin Gillespie is your starting point guard, you're winning even less games than everybody thinks they're going to win this year. And then the combination of Jordan Goodwin and Jared Butler, again, two fine point guards, but you need to fit Devin Booker and Jalen Green on the court together for a lot of minutes each night. And it seems like again, Booker is going to have some more of those playmaking responsibilities, which truthfully I'm not a big fan of, but we will see how it goes.
You mentioned Jalen Green, who came over in the trade for Kevin Durant as the main piece in this equation. And you pair him alongside, essentially you have two shooting guards is your backcourt, essentially. Jalen Green, though, still very young, a high draft choice. The thing I was worried about with him, obviously, he didn't meet the expectations that they had, the lofty expectations that they had for him in Houston. Didn't execute to the way that I think that they wanted him to when they needed him the most. What do you think he can take from that time as a learning tool that he can apply going forward in Phoenix and maybe mature and grow and become a better player for?
Well, I would hope, and again, expectations have obviously changed this year in Phoenix. There's no championship heading to the Valley after this season. So you would think he would use, he's 23 now. This is the experience to go, okay, how can I be a more team-orientated basketball player? Certainly, he's capable of scoring in bunches. And the 38 points he had against the Warriors in the playoffs last year, although he didn't have a great series, to me, it was exciting to think that if he was given more of an opportunity, or if he was able to just fit with a different team, that could become a more regular occurrence. But I do think the big thing for Green this year, and I would actually love to see him play the point guard a little bit. Now, I know there's zero indication that would be a success, but I would just like to see him have the responsibility more of trying to set up his teammates, because if they could unlock any sort of playmaking out of Green whatsoever, it would do wonders for Ryan Dunn, Iguodaro, even Kamal Maluak, the rookie. If he could just do anything with regards to playmaking, it would be massive for the Suns. In truth, it would accelerate. Everybody keeps calling this a retooling around Devin Booker. It's not. It is a rebuild. I think it's a word Matt Ishbia is just afraid to use, because I don't know if he doesn't want to scare Devin Booker away with the word rebuild. It is a rebuild, and if they can make Jalen Green be more than just an elite shooting guard, then I think that does accelerate the rebuild.
I noticed when you started and you switched over and landed with the Valley of the Suns as far as on the fan side experience. And once again, I'm
Mhm.
talking to Luke Duffy. Please go ahead and check out his great work today covering the Phoenix Suns at the Valley of the Suns. And I noticed it came right before draft time. So I want to ask your thoughts on this. When in a matter of minutes, you saw them draft a 7-footer in Kaman Malawak, and I don't remember if it was just before or just after trade with Charlotte to get another 7-footer of a similar style in Mark Williams. What were your thoughts? I mean, these guys, they're both young. I know Mark Williams, the trade didn't work out with the Lakers and whatnot because of the questions and injury history, or the Lakers, let's just put it this way, if they just thought, hey, we paid too much and we're just not going to do it. So you can say what you want. If you guys think that, then you're maybe right on that, because it may have been buyer's remorse. Let's just put that out there. But needless to say, Mark Williams, if he stays healthy, is an effective 7-footer out there, can be a positive contributor, points, rebounds, and block shots. But then you look at Kaman Malawach, you got to develop him. He's not, he's also a young player, young 7-footer that also needs to develop and have time out there on the floor in order to possibly become a player that can help contribute in a points, rebounds, and block shot type manner. Did it come as a curious move to you that they got within a matter of minutes the same similar type of player? And do you think it's like duplicating itself a little bit too much? Now, mind you, you can't have enough 7-footers on your team, but if they're both young 7-footers that need time to grow to reach their full potential, the question is, will they?
Well, it feels to me like every time the Suns, since Ishbia took over, if they've gotten themselves into situations like the Bradley Beal situation, for example, and then having to buy him out, they get themselves into these situations and then somehow manage to get themselves out of these situations. And you think, okay, we have like a blank slate now, or let's just move forward with Devin Booker and go from there. And then they just make another puzzling trade or decision. And for me, bringing Mark Williams in, I believe it was the day after Maliwak was drafted. Like that to me was, why are you putting yourselves in a difficult situation again for no reason? I don't think the positives outweigh the negatives, and I've really tried to think about this as impartially as you can. Yes, there's a lot of talent there. Yes, he clearly is gifted. As you rightly say, you can't have enough 7-footers, but there's a reason the Lakers ultimately vetoed that trade. There's a reason the Hornets wanted to get rid of him, and let's not forget he's also extension eligible too. So there's more money coming his way. So it just didn't make sense to me. If you're going to commit to this rebuild or again retooling, then you just take the 19-year-old prospect who, look, I watched a lot of summer league when he played, or as much as he did play. He's incredibly raw offensively. There's a lot of work to be done there. But you bring in Mark Williams, who I think is only 23. It just gets in his way. And again, I don't know, was that just to placate Booker and say, look, we're still willing to make trades to try and not win now, but accelerate this downtime? Because if Williams does hit, it would be fantastic. He would be a defensive anchor. He'd be maybe everything DeAndre Ayton was going back to 2020, 2021. But I just think there's too many variables. That last season at 43 games was the most games he's played in a season. That's not great. So I'm very worried about the addition of him, especially because Maliwak actually at media day he's a really great personality. He was really infectious. He's going to be. I think fans are going to love him, and he deserves and needs the time to grow into the player that we all hope he can be. And adding Williams, I didn't quite get it, to be honest with you. Now I would love to be wrong. I would love in 12 months' time for him to have played 60 games, 70 games, and to be a double-double machine, and for the Suns to be over league average defensively. But that's just too many things have to go right, I think, for that to be the case.
You mentioned some of the young guys already on the team, Oso Ighodaro, also as well, of course, what you saw with Ryan Dunn. Is there any other, or one of those guys? Which of the young players that we have not really gotten into, which of those players, maybe someone else on the roster that you think really, really should be given a chance to shine because you think good things will come out of it?
I think the obvious answer to me is Ryan Dunn. He's the closest thing to Mikal Bridges that the Suns have had since Mikal Bridges was there. Now, again, he's not the exact same by any stretch, but just he's a two-way player who started last season really hot from 3 points, the 3 point from behind the 3 point line. Excuse me. Now he cooled off considerably, and he never showed that sort of shot in college at all. But his length, his already defensive IQ and body type, I just think he can give the Suns something that they really lack. And like they ranked 27th in defensive efficiency last season. They gave up over 117 points a game. He can help that on his own. He can make that number slightly better. And I just can't wait to see him next to Dylan Brooks. Brooks was joking at media day as well about having a villain junior who can join him on the dark side, and he wouldn't tell us who it was. But it seemed like Ryan Dunn was the most likely candidate because he enjoys defending other teams' best players. And yeah, he just gives something to the Suns that they don't have. I really like Iguodala, but like Williams is there, Maliwak is there. I know he's more of a power forward anyways. I think Nigel Hayes-Davis will get a look in. Nick Richards is still on the roster as well, even though I don't know if the Suns, I think they'd get rid of him if they could. But yeah, I think Ryan Dunn is the one because he can do a lot of things that nobody else on this roster currently can.
So with that, with the team, like you said, retooling has taken place. I don't think it's just going to stop with what you have here. I think that more retooling might be on the way for Phoenix. If so, who on the team stands out as someone that the team might be inclined to move this season?
I think who they'd like to move versus who they would have to move to get better are two sort of different answers. The three that seem like ideal candidates are Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and Nick Richards. I think I can also understand though why other teams would wait on that because come the trade deadline, if somebody's a shooter away or maybe they feel one big away from doing something in the playoffs, those three players are still probably going to be available. So I think they're the three that again the Suns, if they could move, they would. But if they want to actually, it's going to be hard to get first round picks from anybody or young players with upside, then you would maybe have to think about moving a Dunn or an Iguodala or somebody like that. I know Jonathan Kuminga all summer, the talk was of him, leaving Golden State, and the Suns were mentioned initially as maybe somebody who'd love to have him. But the offer was reported to be Grayson Allen, Nick Richards, and 4 second-round picks. And respectfully, that's not going to get it done. So, I think like that sort of package is nowhere near good enough, which is why, again, if you want to get into these conversations for better players who could become available, you're going to have to give up something of value as well.
So with that, with this retooling team, Valley of the Sun, as far as what fans can expect, again, possibly a play-in possibility for them as far as what some are predicting, some are predicting not, some are predicting, like you said, a team that might be looking at a lottery. It's kind of tough to figure out because, again, if Booker has a top 15 type of season, he can take this team a long way, especially if Jalen Green is playing at a better level than he ever did at Houston. So let's say everything goes right. Let's say everything goes beyond your and, well, frankly, my expectations on what we think that Phoenix is going to do this season. What does that look like?
I do get accused, I think, sometimes by the fans of being a little bit overly negative, and I really try not to be. So if this you're asking me now to be the most positive I can be, if everything went correctly, I think this team could actually make the playoffs as the 8th seed. And I mean, everything had to go so perfect. Like Mark Williams is consistently playing, and he's a dominant two-way force. Either one of Rasheer Fleming or Kobe Bree straight away like hit as draft picks this year and are contributing right away. I do think that finishing 8th is possible, but ask me what I really think, and it's a different story. I mean, they're not in control of their first round pick again in 2026, so there's no real incentive to tank, So, I can understand why they would probably try and win games. But ask me what I really think. It's a different story because it's not finishing in the 8th seed, that's for sure.
So with that, before I get to the ultimate question on the Lakers and where you see them and evaluate them, because it helps me when I get all these different opinions from outside the Lakers bubble. And it helps me a lot as far as how I can evaluate the team going into this season myself. Before we get into that, then let's say I do this on the show, my live show, every now and then with my fellow panelists and co-hosts. Let's say I put you in control. Let's say Matt Ishbia says, you know what, I'm hands off from this point forward. It's not been going great with me. I'm not the greatest when it comes to PR. The moves that we've made that I've helped engineer have not quite gone the way I mean. I'm going to go ahead and clean slate. I'm going to put Luke Duffy in charge. So I'm going to go ahead and have him commandeer the Phoenix Suns boardroom, which you and I talked about may not be the cheeriest right now. But with that said, if Luke Duffy is running the Phoenix Suns, how does he approach the season and what does he do?
Well, I think Brian Gregory, the current GM, only has a little bit more experience than me anyway. So if it doesn't go very well, I could get the call up next.
I expect to see it on your LinkedIn updates. Then there you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, look, if I was in that position right now, I would have a very difficult conversation with Devin Booker, and and maybe this has happened to tell him that this rebuild is going to go into your 30s. I'd be going right back to the very, very start. I would be even open to trading Devin Booker, but again, I feel like the fans might get a lot of hate for that. So I understand, like, he's a franchise icon. I understand why you want to have him around. He sells tickets. He's a fantastic basketball player. He means you don't have to go back to like the first step of the process. But they've gotten themselves into such a mess now that they're just constantly trying to work their way out of, and they always maybe get halfway there, or they need to take on a Yusuf Nurkic to get rid of a DeAndre Ayton or whatever it is. They can't seem to just go back to the basics and start and build from the ground up again. So if I was put in that position, I would certainly be open to trading Devin Booker, but I would be having a conversation and saying we have to go back to the very basics. And it's going to be ugly for a few years, and then we need to go from there. And we need to prioritize the draft, even though we don't have draft picks right now. And we need to prioritize young talent. That is what I would do in terms of the Suns, anyway.
I'll tell you this, though. I can't say I disagree with you because I look at it from the fact is, okay, Devin Booker's a fantastic player right now, in the prime of his career right now. But that 2 years that they slapped on in the extension because they want him to be a Suns for life, et cetera, I don't know how well that'll age because he'll be in his 33, 34-year season as far as his age when he starts making $75 million. I needed to stress that out there, but $75 million roughly. I just don't know if he'll be a $75 million player at the age of 33 and 34. That's what kind of concerns me. So, Luke, I would have a tendency to agree. I know that you would get a lot of heat for it, like Nico Harrison got a lot of heat for trading Luka. But just seeing that on the back end, that scares me. Those kind of things, when I evaluate teams, when I evaluate players, those are the kind of things that scare me, and that's what I think you're seeing as well.
Yeah, and again, it's a difficult conversation that you have to have because he can go down as, possibly the greatest Sun ever. Some would say he already is, just given the longevity compared to Barkley, or obviously Steve Nash does have the MVPs. But I just for me there's a real sweet spot where you not get out of the superstar business, but where what they're making begins to be more than what they're giving you. And I think this happens in the NBA and all the time, but like there's that point where they maybe you get out of the superstar or that particular superstar business. And Devin Booker has not hit that point yet. Don't get me wrong, but just there will come a time where maybe what he's making relative to what he's giving the team combined with what they've put around him just makes it a messy situation. And then if he leaves, a bit like Damian Lillard, actually, he was leaving, then he wasn't leaving because he didn't want to upset the fans and he didn't want to upset his legacy there. And then he ultimately left and it didn't work out. And now he's come back. And not to compare Booker to Lillard in terms of like how the career trajectory has gone, but something like that wouldn't surprise me, where maybe Booker's too nice or too, I don't want to say I want to leave, but I want you to be the bad guy and send me somewhere else because I just can't do this anymore. In the coming years, that wouldn't surprise me either, to be completely honest, because I just don't see how between now and 2030 the Phoenix Suns are winning a championship.
I'll tell you what, it's been a great conversation on the Phoenix Suns. I am truly indebted to you for taking the time to speak to me today on it, but I can't let you go without talking about the team that I cover on a daily basis. And like you, we have our share of fans too that seem to be very voice heavy on as far as their opinions on the Lakers, which is absolutely great. And also as well when they give us the earful as far as what they like or don't like what we say on the air. But you know, we're just going to say it anyways, whether we like it or whether they like it or not. We'll just say how we feel, call it like we see it, etc., etc. But being that as it may, the Lakers headed to their season, headed to their training camp, excuse me. I guess prepared to do something in the Western Conference. But what is that in your mind, Luke, as far as how you see Luka, LeBron, and the rest of the Los Angeles Lakers faring this season?
Well, maybe to get some of the Suns fans back on side who just heard me say I'd trade Devin Booker, I will say the Lakers will not be winning a championship this season, respectfully. I don't see that. I think not that there's a ton of parallels to the Suns, but like you have Luka and we have Booker. And once you have that, you at least have a starting point. But what I think the Lakers do have that the Suns don't is a better head coach, at least as of now. I think they do. Certainly a more proactive front office who were able to identify and somehow get Luka Doncic, which I still will never believe that actually happened, even though, I've seen him in a Lakers jersey now. So as long as the LeBron question is still hanging over the team, he's 41, I think, in December, isn't he? It's kind of like what I spoke about a minute ago. Stars reach a certain point, and he's arguably the greatest player of all time, where it's not all about you anymore. And he's had 20 years where it was all about him. The league was all about him. And it may be just hard to accept that it's not all about you anymore. This is Luka's team. And if not that he's coming off the bench or anything, or not that he's going to be traded, but just they need to now have a strategy in place to move beyond the LeBron years. And I thought getting Luka was the best thing that they could have done. Again, so good, I didn't think it was possible. So the Lakers are going to be fine, because it seems like the Lakers are always fine. Even after there's a few years of them being, not very good or whatever, the Lakers always figure it out. So first or second round this season, absolutely can see that. I just don't think they're as good or as deep as the Thunder. I think the Timberwolves are a tough matchup problem for them. Who else in the West as well who's going to be thereabouts? I think like they shouldn't fear the Rockets, for example. They shouldn't. Certainly they don't fear the Clippers anymore. But, there's not a ton of teams to fear, but I just think they'll be maybe semifinals in the West at best.
What about the Nuggets? Where do you see that?
Oh, sorry, the Nuggets. I should have absolutely mentioned them as well. Yeah, I think they might actually surprise a few people. I think actually not enough people are talking about them. Like Jokic is just ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. So they're arguably being slept on now. So yeah, I could absolutely. If you told me the Nuggets are going to win it all this season, I wouldn't. For a second, I wouldn't say that was implausible. I think they absolutely could.
It's funny because my co-host and I had arguments with our fan base, those coming out of EuroLeague, about Jokic. Is Jokic still the best player of this deck? Because we've often called him on the show reluctantly because we, don't like the Nuggets. Yeah. But you would be remiss in saying he's not been the best player over the course of this decade to this point. And people were saying, "Oh, he's not the best player anymore. Look at these other players are doing." And I'm like, until we see it out on the court and an NBA court, you have to call it what it is. So I definitely hear you on that. And the Nuggets certainly made some changes that might definitely give them a better chance this season. And we'll see what happens to the Lakers as well. But Luke, you've been tremendous. And again, I would like to revisit this conversation during the course of the season, if you'll allow me to. But before we head on out, I need you to, it's the cheap plug time. So I need you to go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you and all your great work that you're doing right now on the Suns.
Thank you, Gerald, as well. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. Call me on anytime. I'll come on and talk about anything and everything NBA. I truly do. Like I could talk about this all day and the Suns all day. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I do write for Valley of the Suns, as you said, on Fansided. They are on X on on social media, on Facebook as well. And then my own handle is at Luka Lockhart, which is not my name. My name is Luke Duffy. It's a long and boring story I won't get into, but if you want to come on and give me a lot of stick, like I said, for wanting to trade Devin Booker, or DM me and tell me how negative I am, which does happen from time to time, please do, because I love interacting with fans, from all around the world, and I just love to talk about this sport. So please come talk to me about anything you want, and I'll be sure to respond.
I'll tell you what, Luke, I will be a lot kinder to you. I'll just say that whenever we get the chance to catch up and talk about the NBA and the Lakers or the Suns, primarily for you as well. Again, I'm wishing you continued success. Congratulations on what you've achieved so far. I don't want to say what, because that's on your profile from what I'm seeing. So I'll let you go ahead and share that with your audience out there, as far as if you want to. But I wish you continued success. I do hope you get that NBA job one of these days. So, I can just say, I would say I know somebody that's in the NBA. There you go.
Well, I'm currently the jersey behind me. I'm a women's basketball coach, so maybe I might just see if I can end up a WNBA head coach as well. I might give that a bash as well, but I'll get in somehow. Somehow I'll get in there.
All it takes is all you need is that door just opening a little bit, so you can just go right. Look at Mark Dagnall. Look at Mark Dagnall. He is the spitting image of what you can do if you work hard. He didn't have the greatest background as far as the basketball. He was not in the pipeline, as far as someone's pipeline, as far as a player or he had an unremarkable college career. And look at it. He worked hard. He got noticed at a college level. He got noticed at a G League level, and look what happened there. He's now holding the trophy. So the same can happen for you, my friend. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced.
Thank you very much. I'm only 5'9", so my college career was even less than unremarkable. I don't know what below unremarkable was, but it was that. So thank you very much.
No worries. Always great to have you here. Luke Duffy, please go ahead and support him today. His great work at the Valley of the Suns. Luke, again, I look forward to reigniting this conversation again here during the course of the season. And I look forward to you stopping back on right here as part of our NBA team previews today, and then going on in the future during the season, giving us updates on the Suns and the NBA right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.